Welcome to the Dune Over, episode 2 of season 3, Children of Dune. I am Dan, joined by Jennifer and her cat Malcolm.
Malcolm, say hi, Malcolm. Yeah, he wants food.
Meow.
That's it.
And Scott, maker of Dune-tober.
Dune-tober, yeah, the maker of Dune-tober.
Well, maybe one of the makers.
One of. He
I don't
is
want to
not. He is not Shai Halou. He is not a sand crab.
No. Not even one of the stunted ones that they put in the water to make drugs.
We don't hide his water supply and put predators in there. So this actually was a chunky part of the book. Like, it literally, now I feel like we have a third left of the book.
I feel like we have like half left of the book, but
at least in mine it looked like there was more.
Yeah.
I don't know, the font's so fucking big. Like,
I should
see,
get
in
that
mine,
one,
yeah, the font it feels so small.
yeah, like
you really cram it in. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, see, that's nice.
Yeah, that looks
it's just
luxurious.
my page counts are like way off. It adds like an extra 30 pages. Because I was like, holy shit, like, it never takes me this long to read 100 pages. What the fuck? I was like, oh, it's not 100 pages.
Normally, it doesn't take me this long.
2 weeks?
This never happens. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. A joke.
So this is going to be a weird show. Like, I have another show booked at 10:30, so like we're gonna try and chug through this as fast, well, not as fast as possible, but we're not going to meander on long treks off the path, which had Cid been here, we're going to get to a scene, which I know we're still going to go way off the fucking path.
What could you possibly be referring to?
Cid would have went way over, and Jen would have been like, yeah, how about this? How about that?
Yeah.
You would have been just egging it on.
100%.
Yeah. So we start out with spending some time with our desert cryptid preacher, who just strolls into the center of the city, and he talks about, like,
it's. I feel like, isn't that the chapter that's kind of told from Alia's point of view, though?
Yes.
So like she's watching him roll in, and is like got laser focused eyes on him
in her hidey hole.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I see.
She's creeping.
Where she's like, what if that's Paul?
And
Suspicious. Got a voice inside her head going, nonsense. Of course that's not Paul.
She's like, but it might be, because like he kind of has some mannerisms like him, and it totally could be, but I don't know.
And Irulan starts standing up for herself pre this, where they're talking about the gifts, and she's like, all gifts to the twins will be examined thoroughly, just as always, Irulan argued. And when we find the gift harmless, and she's like, who is this bitch to start speaking up now?
So for those of you who are watching who don't remember, there's this setup in the first part that we read where what's her name? Wendicia is she's trying to Wenny, Wenny the Pooh. She's trying to she wants to she's trained these laser tigers, not laser tigers, these laser tigers to attack two twins that have these specific robes on them. And so she is going to give these robes to Leto II and Ghanima in the hopes that whoever's going to do it will end up, the tiger will end up attacking these two kids. So like now the gift has been given and it needs to be inspected.
Yes. And there's a back and forth about it, and the council,
as there's with everything, there's always a back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the preacher like comes down there, starts making some statements about all of the Atreides.
Yeah, because Alia is there in her little hidey hole watching, and she's basically trying to figure out, like, is it my dad? Is that my dad? And she's
My
like, well,
brother.
it could, but then like all of a sudden she's plotting in her brain, and then all of a sudden the preacher starts saying some stuff, and he like specifically points out like that's kind of the culmination. He's like, I've got four things, and he like points up to where she's at,
spy hole,
exactly where she's at, and is like, I've got a message for you, bitch. Like,
I bring her a warning, you who held the secret of duration in your loins have sold your future for an empty purse.
Yes.
She's like, how dare he? Fuck.
She did it all for the money.
Mm-hmm.
But it was empty
messages for Stilgar, the Fremen Naib who believes he can translate the power of the tribes into the power of the Imperium. My warning to you, Stilgar, the most dangerous of all creations is a rigid code of ethics. It will turn upon you and drive you into exile. And she's like, this motherfucker has gone too far. Like, I gotta call the guards. And then the third one, my third message is for the Princess Irulan. Princess, humiliation is a thing which no person can forget. I warn you to flee. And Alia's like, what's he saying? We humiliate Irulan, but like, why does he want her to flee? My decision was just made. Like, and then Duncan, Idaho. Duncan, you were taught to believe that loyalty buys loyalty. Oh, Duncan, do not believe in history, because history is impelled by whatever passes for money, Duncan. Take your horns and do what you know how to do best.
Yeah. Yep.
And like, Ollie is like, horns? What the fuck? I'm about to press this button. It's gonna call the guards and take this motherfucker. Like,
and she's like, but she's like, nah, I won't. I'll wait. I really can't. He just warned me. And so I think like after this, she's like, fuck, that is my dad, isn't it? Like who else would it be? It's this mysterious preacher who's been hanging out in the desert, and she's like, that voice, like that definitely, that could be my dad, especially
he uses the voice at a certain point, and she's like,
yeah,
oh fuck.
And like that voice has been like weathered by the desert weathered voice. Like that could be my dad.
And that seems like someone that's been in the desert for 9 years.
Yeah, she's basically shaking. She's like, I feel suddenly cold. Like,
and this is Alia, Saint Alia, little, baddie with the knife, and will just like cut anyone and everyone.
Oh yeah, she suffers no preachers.
Yeah, and then the voice inside her head, it's the Barony's going, what idle speculation is this? She felt herself growing calmer, like, yes, the Baron's plan was a good one. We eliminate the threat of the Lady Jessica at the same time we discredit House Carino. Yes. The preacher can be dealt with later. He has his flaw. We'll find it. I will have him spied upon, watched every moment.
I feel like this is big. It's probably obvious, like some of the biblical sort of references and like feels of this whole thing. But, there's this big like Pharaoh, Moses energy here, right?
The next chapter is Leto and Stilgar. And Leto's like, yeah, we got to go to this place. You might remember I do, because my dad was here with you. And it was when we took Gurney. And
yeah. And he kind of, does he slip and actually say we, or like, because he's kind of like slips into his dad. Yeah.
Slips into his dad.
And Leto's like pounding his knee, like kind of like impatiently, like I guess wanting to have this talk. And they're out looking at the desert, and Stilgar's like, why the fuck are we out here? Like, my dude, like, I don't want to do this. And the silence is just completely bothering Stilgar. And he's like, oh, Stilgar must have many memories of passing this way with his beloved Muad'Dib. They talk a lot about Stilgar's love for Paul.
Yeah.
Daylight was getting ready to come up, and Leto spoke without turning. I have a very serious problem still. And he's like, yeah, I figured, like, my dude, like, come on. My problem is that my father left so many things undone, especially the focus of our lives. The Empire cannot go on this way still without a proper focus for human life. I'm speaking of life, you understand, life, not death. Once he was troubled by a vision, your father spoke in this vein to me. And Leto's like, there's really no substitute for prescience. Perhaps I should risk the spice and then be destroyed as your father was. Once your father confided me, knowing the future too well was to be locked into that future, which very interesting.
Yeah, especially because like thinking that his dad was so obsessed with the future and what was going to happen that he like just allowed Achani, his wife, to die.
Mm-hmm. Right. That explains some of the like the sad boy, like, well, you could just not. But it's like, but no, I will, because that's what my visions tell me I will. And it's this whole, questions about free will and whatnot, right? It's just like, it's inevitable, but it's inevitable because you're not doing anything.
It's literally like a self-fulfilling prophecy here.
Yeah. Literally, yeah.
My favorite part about this, sorry, go on.
Oh no, go.
I was gonna say my favorite part about this chapter is when Leto is like, what does he say? Because Stilgar's like, you're not a duke, you are just a kid. And Leto is like, I'm not a kid, I'm an adult, you're not my real dad. And then Stilgar's like, I'm doubling your guard. Basically, like, you're grounded, young man.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry. So Stilgar, he goes like, why have we come to this place? Like, what are we doing here? And he's like, because I wanted you to see the place where I may die. Which is so
dark.
Yes.
The Cure plays in the background.
Oh gosh. Pretty much.
What Cure song would it be?
The one about rain, right? Maybe Disintegration or
The Hanging Garden.
Yeah.
That one's just very sad.
Anything
or
like
Love Cats. Maybe Love Cats.
Wouldn't be Pictures of You.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good.
Boys Don't Cry.
Maybe. They don't spill water for the dead.
Real poppy. Why can't I be you?
Yeah.
I'm thinking anything like pre, like 93. I'm thinking anything pre 93.
Yeah.
If only tonight we could sleep. It's very moody.
I'm like going through their whole discography.
Yeah. Like,
Robert Smith, you're watching. What would your recommendation be?
We should revisit this.
We're going to put a pin in this. And Stilgar's like, so you've had a vision. He's like, perhaps it was a dream. Stilgar's just like, why we come here? Like, we got to go home. And he's like, I saw 3 paths. Mm-hmm. And boy, oh boy, path 2.
One of the paths.
Yeah, one of them. He's like, I have to kill mom.
So I saw 3. One of the futures requires me to kill our grandmother. Mm-hmm. And Stilgar's like, seriously, dude, I don't know if you could kill your grandma. Like, I tried that once. It didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, kill her to keep from losing the spice monopoly. And he's like, I don't understand. Leto's like, listen, I don't make the dreams. They just make me.
Right, yeah. I just tell the dreams.
The second path, Ghani and I marry to seal the Atreides bloodline. And I love the Stilgar reaction.
Get that thought out of your brain, kid. Yeah. Like he's basically like, I feel like at this point he's like got this in his head. He's gone to his sister and his sister's like, no. And he's like, I'm gonna go ask mom. And then like, I don't know, he like goes and tells someone else about it and they're like, no, kid. And then he goes to Stilgar and Stilgar's like, no, like just stop
kill people for this. And he's like, well, Ghani and I decide we're not gonna breed. And it's like, hold.
I don't want to be like I just want to be clear, I'm not pro incest. I'm anti-incest. However, I do appreciate that he does just like say like, well, that's an option. We have to at least like look it in the face. But let's, and then of course every right-thinking person around him is like, no, that's a no. That one's like, last.
By the way, by Fremen law, incest was punishable by death on the hanging tripod.
Right.
And the third path, he's like, I am called to reduce my father to human stature. He was my friend. Ooh. And he's like, yeah, he was your god. I must undeify him. And I was like, I mean, we started this
undeifying.
in book 2.
Yeah, for sure. That's what a lot of book 2 is. It's the undeifying of Paul.
He's basically like, listen, if I die, you got to beware of Alia. She is no longer your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And
is she really anybody's friend at any point?
No, she has no friends except Yavid, and of course that's not really a friendship. That's just even Duncan's like, I don't know about this. What did I do?
Yeah, when is that chapter? Because I've got like thoughts.
Oh, that's coming up. That's like,
yeah. What is this talk of death and your aunt? Stilgar was like outraged. Kill the lady Jessica. Beware of Alia. Die in this place. Fuck my sister. Like, what is going on?
Yeah,
like family.
Sorry, go on.
No, his family's rough. It's just rough stuff.
Yeah, like
bad news.
I feel like he's also like, this little kid is spending way too much time on like Pornhub watching like stepsister videos and like.
Yeah, he's getting sent diss trans vids of like.
Oh God.
How to murder family.
It's that line of like, but Ghanima, you're not my sister. You're my stepsister.
You're my
like,
stepsister.
No, I'm your sister.
Yeah, like that.
Hold on, let me see.
Like, no, we were twins, dude.
He's just like, you've been spending way too much time by yourself, thinking alone. Like, these are literally your 3 options. These are the best 3 options you could come up with all that prescience and like all these paths you could see. Those are the 3 best.
We've talked about a little bit about, Ghanima getting kind of a rough go of it here, just because, again, her name, is kind of a rough thing. Yeah, but she also just doesn't get a lot of screen time, as it were. But there is a chapter coming up where she gets quite a bit, and it's pretty great. And I kind of like really noticed that because it felt so sort of unique within the book. So yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah.
I love this, like, Stilgar's like, the Regency handles its imperial duties well. Like, when you come of age, he's like, I am of age. I'm the oldest person here. Like,
I'm like a million years old.
You're a puling infant besides me. I can remember more than 50 centuries. I can even remember when we were Fremen on Thurgood.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, kid, like, why do you play with this shit? Like,
right, because with Chani, he has Fremen history as well. That's yeah.
And I like this line: the Chris knife dissolves at the death of its owner. Muad'Dib has dissolved. Why are the Fremen still alive?
Yeah.
Well, because the Fremen were there before Paul. Okay.
Yes, they were.
And they're there after.
Yes. They will remain. It's their 5th world. They're not going to stop now.
Their 5th one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Stilgar, he found himself temporarily dumb. Such words contain meaning, but their intent eluded him.
Yeah. Again, like, as somebody, like, I don't remember who was asking for it, but like the Stilgar cut of this whole thing would be a cool story, right? It'd be.
I just see every chapter ending in with doing the Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
It's Stilgar.
He is kind of a Larry David type.
A little bit.
Like, he started this book by thinking about murdering children, and then it was like, well, you could just kill them right in their crib, but I won't.
He's got Jerry Seinfeld as one of his Fedaykin. Hey,
yeah.
What's the deal with the Fremen?
What's with all this water?
What is the deal with sand trout?
Are they sand or are they trout?
Who are these people?
Why are they so gooey?
You can't have spice without the worms. What's the deal?
Oh man.
I'm sorry to everybody tuning out now at our version of Seinfeld.
Yeah, right.
They have Wu-Tang Seinfeld. We need Dune Seinfeld now. We need
Gurney is George Costanza.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's definitely Costanza. He's very neurotic, I feel like.
Sorry, because we mentioned Seinfeld.
Jessica's Elaine.
My entire life, I refused to watch Seinfeld. I am like, there's 2 types of people in this world. There's people who like Seinfeld and there's people who don't like it. And like, I hate Seinfeld with a passion. And I have gone back and started rewatching it because I fucking hate myself, apparently. It's like the smartest, dumbest, funniest shit. Yeah. Like, I hate it. But I can't
David
stop.
Wrote it.
Yeah,
I know, but I can't stop.
But now they won because you're watching it. They won.
They did.
Seinfeld always wins. You can't fight Seinfeld.
There's also an awesome thing here. He's like, I'm expected to be emperor, but I must be the servant. My grandfather, for whom I was named, added new words to his coat of arms when he came here to Dune. Here I am, here I remain. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, did he ever.
Oh boy, yeah.
He had no choice, Stilgar said. Very good, Still, nor have I any choice. I should be the emperor by birth, by the fitness of my understanding. By all that has gone into me, I even know what the Imperium requires, good government. Naib has an ancient meaning. It is servant of the siege. He's like, I remember your training. Like, I already know this shit. Like, he's very dismissive. He's like, I respect you, but I don't respect you.
Yeah.
He's mansplaining someone like 3 times his age.
Yeah, totally. Which, like, even though he is like an adult, I've actually seen real children do this. Like, because you do come to a point where you think you're smarter than adults. Which actually then when you become an adult, you realize, like, well, actually adults don't know that much anyway, so maybe I was.
Yeah.
And he's just like, my past goes deeper than yours. And Stilgar's like, God, like, get the fuck off my back, kid. Like, I'm out here and the sun's coming up. I don't want to be out here.
Yeah. And Stilgar's old at this point. I mean, he's an old man.
He's got to be in the 60s, 70s. I mean, depending, because the spice extends the life.
True. Spice extends the life. But maybe, like, even in spice years, he's like 60 or 70, right? I mean.
And then they get into the ecology of, have you noticed the man-made intrusion into the landscape change? Like, and then he's like, have you noticed still that the new still suits are of sloppy manufacture? Our water loss is way too high.
And isn't this where they also mentioned that the Fremen are taking pills now? Like, instead of actually wearing the still suits, they're basically drowning in water.
And they have reactions of, like, slowed reaction time, occasional blurred vision from taking it. And Still's like, are we out here to talk about still suit manufacturers? Like, oh, well, why not? Like,
Leto's basically like, my cousin's friend's brother took it, and he was going to get married, but it made him impotent. Thank you.
Yes.
For catching that reference. Okay.
Finally, he's like, why must they beware your aunt? Because she plays upon the old Fremen desire to resist change, yet would bring more terrible change than you can imagine. And he's like, you make much out of little. She's a proper Fremen. Then the proper Fremen hold to the ways of the past, and I have an ancient past. He just keeps like digging in about, listen, I'm an old man in a 9-year-old body.
Yeah. I'm an adult now. It's like that Descendants song.
And then, like, at the end of this chapter, there's like this, I don't know, to me it's kind of a funny exchange where it's like right after
you've seen all the pretty girls.
Yeah, right after Stilgar's like, you're grounded. And then I think that he's like saying, like, I need to get this little kid's mind off of like trying to fuck his sister. Like, yo, you need to start looking at all these hot chicks all around you. Like,
it's like spring break 24/7. Especially probably with the Hodge all the time, right? There probably are a lot of like hot co-eds showing up on Arrakis. Like,
hot co-eds in your area. Horny ladies in your area.
Is this where Leto's skull is? Is that where it is?
Adult Fremen finder. Leto goes, now you will listen to me. If I die or disappear in the desert, you are to flee from Siege to Bar. I command it. You are to take Ghanima. You are not my duke. You're a child. I'm an adult child's flesh.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Just boom.
If I die here, it will be in that place. You will see blood. You will know then. Take my sister, and I'm doubling your guard. You're not coming out here again.
Right.
You're
grounded.
Now, and grounded. He's like, still, you can't stop me. You can't hold me. Turn your mind once more to that time at Habayana Bridge. Remember, the factory crawler was out there on the sand, and a big maker was coming. Oh yeah.
Yes.
There was no way to save the crawler from the worm. My father was annoyed that he couldn't save the crawler, but Gurney could think only of men he'd lost in the sand. Remember what he said? Your father would have been more concerned for the men and he couldn't save. Still, I charge you to save people. They're more important than things. And Still goes, I will hear no more. Have you noticed still how beautiful the young women are this year? And that's the end of the chapter.
Like my sister? No.
Yeah.
No.
And Stilgar,
who are you?
The next chapter starts and Stilgar is like, I found Leto's casual conversation profoundly disturbing. Like, it ground through his awareness all the way back across the sand to Siege the Bar. And he was like, indeed, the young women of Arrakis were very beautiful this year, and the young men, too.
We're still on that.
Ooh.
Their faces glowed serenely. Yes, he's poly.
He just recognizes hotness.
Is he bisexual? Because we know that the Fremen are 100% poly.
Yeah.
But did I miss that? Is Stilgar a bi icon?
Perhaps.
They don't really go into it, but that is like a real weird throw out there of like, and the young men too. Huh.
I mean, I guess if you're like,
you're orgying 24/7, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're rocking that like spice orgy, then at the end of the day, it's all nerve endings. Like, just enjoy it.
I think the Fremen culture isn't too like. I don't think that there's those hangouts. They're like, you drink that worm juice. Maybe you drink some other worm juice. Who knows?
Use some proper water discipline.
Yeah,
exactly.
And always remember to bring a towel.
Ooh, different franchise.
And then Stilgar's like, that village over there? I don't know why I want it destroyed. He's just because earlier he's like, oh yeah, that village over there they built afterward with poor water seals. I kind of want it destroyed.
Yeah.
And now he's like, look at all the young women. I don't want to destroy that.
Yeah, why would you? Mm-hmm. Now that you mentioned it, even though Javier Bardem is like iconic as still, I'm now going to just picture Larry David as Stilgar from here on out. I think that's just that just happened. I think
that's fair.
I think it makes sense.
But it has to be older Stilgar.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, this Stilgar. This is Javier Bardem becomes so when they get to Children of Dune, they got to replace Javier Bardem with Larry David, which will be very disconcerting for people, but I don't care.
If you can suspension of disbelief, you got to do it.
Yeah, it's fine.
And Stilgar's just like fucked up in his brain. He's like, this little fucking shit infected my brain with this stuff now. And he's like,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
This entire chapter is really just like Stilgar, like in his head thinking and being like rattled by what this little child in his session. Yeah. So basically like what Leto has said to him is like kind of like getting to him a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And he's like, how beautiful the young women are this year. As he watched Leto retreating back, Stilgar began to wonder how the youth had set those thoughts flowing, and just by uttering a seemingly simple statement. Because of that statement, Stilgar found himself viewing Alia and his own role in the council in an entirely different way. Alia was fond of saying that old ways gave ground slowly. Stilgar admitted to himself that he'd always found the statement vaguely reassuring. Change was dangerous. Mm-hmm. And he just kept going, look, there's grass. There's fucking uncut grass here now.
Grass.
What the fuck?
I do love those little just touches of like how disruptive that would be. You live on this desert planet for generations, and all of a sudden there's a flood, there's grass, the
sandworms are dying.
Yeah, they're retreating further and further.
Mm-hmm. They're like only around the middle, right? The equator.
I love Stilgar's like, does this kid know the turmoil he has caused in my head now? Like, 100% he does.
Oh yeah, that's a feature, not a bug.
But this was an interesting chapter just because of basically Stilgar's ping-ponging all of his beliefs, and now he's like, yeah, fuck, Paul fucked up everything. Like, was it Muad'Dib had said another thing Stilgar meant, just as individuals are born, mature, breed, and die, so do societies and civilizations and governments. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dangerous or not, there would be change. The beautiful young Fremen knew this.
This is hot Fremen everywhere.
Hot Fremen in your area.
It's both like he's having like an existential crisis and also just like, God, I'm not as young as I used to be.
He's just straight up having a midlife crisis.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna go buy a Corvette.
That would be my midlife crisis, though.
Start wearing Eddie Bauer shirts.
Oh, jeez. Or
Affliction.
Not Ed Hardy.
Religion.
I was thinking the they're not floral print, but they're like Tommy Bahama t-shirts.
Oh, Tommy, yeah, sure, yeah. He's listening to Jimmy Buffett all the time. Oh yeah, you're all from Florida. I'm sure you've heard Jimmy Buffett once or twice.
Well, also the worst of the worst. Do you remember the old Big Johnson shirts?
Oh God, those, yeah. I grew up around that.
Horrible. Yeah, like I remember in high school in the 90s, like dating myself here, but
well, and the next chapter like starts with a Stilgar quote, which is classic old man too, right? Like he's talking about the water sickness. It's a Fremen dies when he is too long from the desert. This we call the water sickness. It's like too much of a good thing. You know,
I also feel like, so you know that scene in The Fifth Element where Ruby Rod is like just going on and on and on, and then like says, "Hey, Corbin Dallas, my man, like, can you give me a sentence?" And he says one word. Like I feel like that's whoever was writing this,
and there's like feedback.
Yeah, like whoever was writing this, who's ever writing the Stilgar comments, just went up to Stilgar and he's like, "Yes." And that was it. Just one sentence.
Yeah.
But it's profound.
The next chapter is Alia like digging into hate or Duncan, whatever we want to call him.
Well, she
wants him to abduct her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts pouting.
Yeah,
she does struggle with what to call him, right, Jen? That's what I think you're getting.
Because at some point she's like, "Well, I can't think of him as Duncan," and I think like that's where maybe Frank Herbert was trying to like rewrite the age thing, because if she thinks of him as like Duncan, that was who he was when she was a child, and now she's older, and like, okay, I've got to think of him as hate. I don't know if like that was him just trying to like.
He was dead.
He was dead.
He was a child.
Yeah.
He was a corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, and your loyalty is the House Atreides, not to me, Alia pouted. And it's just like,
And throughout this entire exchange with Alia, because I really do appreciate her, I kept having to remind myself, Alia is, at this moment, the Empress of the universe, folks. She's the Empress of the universe.
Yeah.
Pouting. No, she's straight up Empress.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And she's just like, "Meh, abduct my mom for me, please."
Yeah. That's what a lot of I get, like, just to go back to like one of the, not themes, I guess, but this whole story, it's a lot of these, like the most powerful people in the world being sad all day, basically. It's like, the galaxy in the universe, just being like, "Wah, my mom's mean. I'm actually an adult. I'm sad because I can't live in the desert."
There's an exact moment with, I think it's sorry, I know I'm jumping way ahead, but there's an exact moment with that in like the penultimate or maybe the last chapter with Faradin, because Faradin is told, "Hey, you need to be doing this thing," by his mom, Wendicia, and he's just like, "Oh man, if I have to do these things, then that means I can't just sit around and think and do the things that make me happy." Like that's literally what this is that like there's this thing that I'm being told I need to do, or that is like, part of the path or whatever, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I just want to read history books.
There was a bombshell dropped about Duncan later in this.
Oh yeah.
Where I was like,
yes. Oh yeah.
I was just like,
I noted that.
You can't just casually drop that and move on. Like,
but we all knew.
Well, we had guesses about the.
Now we have. Not confirmation, but more. It's a Zapruder film that we're going to go over and over again with it.
It's just
he says it this way, and that means, and then she says this.
It's just the dropping of the Hindenburg. Oh my god!
Yeah, totally.
And they're having like this weird fucking conversation where he's like, "Hey, they sell these pieces of etched marble," and he's trying. "I bought it last week. A golden tree with 5 tassels, lovely but fragile." And she's like, "Don't change the subject."
And he's like, well, hold up. There's a metaphor in here, and it's like it's art, but it's manufactured. Like,
he puts his hand on the windowsill. He's like, look.
I do like his thing about art where he's like, you know, because they're just rocks that are in the desert. And he's selling. He's like, art is something that humans make through their violence and whatever else.
Ooh,
and like,
yeah.
Yes, because I've had that. I had that was a question posed to us in like an art class I had, and like they were like, "Oh, are these rocks art?" And I was like, "No, because like nature made them, and nature doesn't give a fuck about what you think; it just does stuff." But yeah, I just loved his little detour into art criticism and art theory.
And then now when you're drawing, you're like, humans make art with violence.
This is art, and I'm pissed about it because it's not right. The nose looks weird.
There's an interesting thing of Alia's kind of scared of Stilgar.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like, because Idaho, he's like, Stilgar told me he went along with Leto because he still believes in Muad'Dib. Of course he does, Idaho chuckled. He said he still believes because Muad'Dib was always for the little people. And what did you say to that? Idaho dropped his hand from his eyes and said, that must make you one of the little people. And she's like, Duncan, that is a dangerous game. Bait that Fremen naive and you could awaken a beast to destroy us all. I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Put some respect on Stilgar's name.
You absolutely do. Yeah.
And throughout this entire chapter, Alia is because she is possessed by the Baron, her grandfather, and
just
it's
a little
kind of
corner. Just
like a tiny little, and she can kind of like hide it, kind of like push it back.
Yeah.
But then there's another part upcoming where she asks she asks Duncan to like, hey, like do the Mentat thing, like do some calculations for me. Mm-hmm. And like he's doing these calculations and he basically figures out, I can't remember if he actually figures out if she is being possessed specifically by the Baron, but he knows. He's like, she's being possessed by something that's not Atreides.
Yeah, Duncan figured. He's Mentats all over.
Yeah, Jessica's the one who like knows exactly who when a certain finger tapping happens, which is fucking incredible.
That's incredible. I love that moment. Yeah.
Leto should not be going out like that in these times. I will reprimand him. Not even with Stilgar. Not even with him. I don't want him out there. And she was like, I will be busy examining Faradin's gifts. The clothing, nothing he does is what it seems. And we must remember that his Bashir Tayek is an adept of chamas, and all the other subtleties of royalty assassination.
I love that they're like, so the guy that sent us these is an expert at royalty assassination. But they're probably, once we inspect them, it's gonna be fine. It's fine. Of course, obviously, she has other motives going on here too, so maybe she doesn't.
Yes. So she's like maybe preoccupied. She's like, I'll look at it and we'll see.
Yeah. We got something from child murderer Joe. Should we give them to the children? Well, let's look at them first, but they're probably fine.
Alia was not in contact with the pseudo Jessica within her. Therefore, Alia was completely possessed by another pseudo life to the exclusion of all others. Possessed, alien, abomination.
Right.
He accepted this, turned to other facets.
Right. That's what it was. Is when she misunderstands what Jessica would have thought, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. She has all of her ancestors in her head."
Yeah. And I think it's at that point that he also realizes, or maybe accuses her of like, hey, or maybe that was earlier, but he's basically saying like, you don't want your mom abducted because you're afraid for her. You are afraid of your mom. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I know that my mom told on me. She told on me to the other Bene Gesserits, and
which is also like you're kind of showing your hand because you're like, why is there something to tell on about? Because I know you're preborn, but if you're keeping it together, it's cool. But if you're
start seeing glee in her eye as they're talking the abduction, she's like, where will you take her? I'm not telling you. You can't
And
know.
he's like, well, I can't even tell you that, because then if a truthsayer comes along and tries to get the truth out of you, then you can honestly say that you don't know. But then it's like, I don't think truthsayers are that dumb. Truthsayers are going to be like, hey, did you plan to abduct your mom? Ah, shit. They asked me the question.
You've already said too much.
Yeah.
As it were. Yeah.
And Duncan's crying as he leaves.
Ooh.
Through his Twilaxu eyes, yeah.
Even Twilaxu eyes can cry.
Yeah, we're not immune to tears.
Not immune to tears, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, more sad. Now we have sad Golas.
Yeah, sad Gola boy.
Everybody's sad.
Kind of love the quote in the beginning of the next chapter. You have loved Caladan and lamented its loss to host, but pain discovers new lovers cannot erase those forever ghosts.
Yeah.
Best
Duran Duran song ever. Is really great, solid.
Well, we have Hungry Like the Laser Wolves.
Yeah.
Laser Tigers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been listening to the audiobook and then going and reading it, and it just like helps me visualize it once I go and read it. And I remember this particular like refrain from the Habanya lament. And the way that they said it, it flowed really, really well. That I'm really glad that I listened to it, because it really, like, you hear the like
the musicality of it, or like
the rhythm. Yeah.
I always wanted to start cooking after I listened to Game of Thrones on audio.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because you're like,
need some lemon cakes.
That man wants to fuck some food.
It was like, do I want chicken wings? Like, I know it's 1 a.m., but
I do.
Chicken wings.
I just made chicken wings earlier today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want some pie too. Like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna fuck it.
Yeah, I want some pie. I want a roast chicken, maybe a meat pie, lemon cake.
The most George R. R. Martin thing ever to show up in that show was the Hound and the chicken.
Oh yeah, man, yeah, totally.
And then him with the KFC hat meme that came around later.
Yeah,
the Colonel beard. So Stilgar is like now tripled and quadrupled the guard around the twins because
so many
the little fucker annoyed him.
Yeah.
Ghanima, I this is her chapter basically, where they say she's more like her mother. There was Chani's red hair, the set of Chani's eyes, and a calculating way about her when she adjusted to difficulties. She often said she only did what she had to do, but where Leto led, she would follow, and Leto was going to lead her into danger.
Yeah, he's Bart Simpson and she's Lisa.
Oh,
I mean, to some degree. And maybe that's just the way everybody writes brothers and sisters, but
where they have to like have two different personalities to be able to like showcase the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's just a little more like, I don't know, like or maybe she's like she's Scully and he's Mulder. Like Mulder. I don't know about this.
He wants to believe. Oh no, he wants to believe, and she's like, whatever. Like I might bust someone's head open. Yeah,
like in my relationship, I am the Scully. And I know what that's like. My wife is the Mulder.
Stilgar has a realization in this that Leto kind of led him to. She uses people in a casual and callous way, he thought about Alia. She even uses Duncan that way. It isn't so much that she'd turn on me and kill me, she'd discard me.
Oof.
Yeah. Alia's cold.
And Ghanima has become like BFFs with her grandmother.
Yeah, they get along. Well, Jessica's cool. She's a cool grandma, and she's like, and that, not just because
Jessica and Leto, not so much.
Yeah, yeah, they have a little rougher time because again, he just is like, I'm smarter than you. I'm smarter than everybody.
And Ghanima's basically standing there talking to her grandmother. Her eyes, the way they danced when she spoke, the movement fascinated him. Those deep blue, steady, demanding, measuring eyes, and the way of throwing her red gold hair off her shoulder with a twist of the head. That was Chani. It was a ghostly correction and uncanny resemblance.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, where she even got her mother's tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because she knows her. She's known her mother. I mean, she's like, that's the thing, right?
Possessed.
Even though her mother died in childbirth, she knows
possessed.
her mother. Yeah. And was possessed briefly, yeah.
Yes. And he could not associate Ghanima's observing manner with any other child of his experience except her brother. Where was Leto?
Where is that kid? I just quadrupled the guard. I can't keep track of him.
He's like, these twins assaulted my sanity.
Yeah, exactly.
Peace of mind.
Right, yeah. Again, Stilgar's like, he's like, these kids. I should have killed them.
We're not immune from one's hatred, but blood and its precious water carried demands for one's countenance, which transcended most other concerns. These twins existed as his greatest responsibility. And what is it? And then again, he's like, "Why did Leto afflict me with these doubts? God, like,
why is he? Yeah,
I kind of want to fucking murder this kid."
Yeah. This is Ghanima chapter, but it is a lot. It is still a lot of Stilgar. Like, what am I dealing with here? What am I going to do with these children?
For the first time, as he watched Ghanima and the Lady Jessica, Stilgar began to understand what it must be like to live in such a scrambled web of memories, unable to retreat or find a sealed room of the mind faced with such a condition. One had to integrate madness to select and reject from a multitude of offerings in a system where answers changed as fast as the question. He recognized his pattern. It was the old Fremen game of riddles. Question, it brings death and life. Answer, the Coriolis wind.
Mm-hmm.
And what have I been asking myself? Stilgar thought of I smiled. And that is the most Larry David.
Yeah. What? What have I been asking myself?
Did they talk? Jessica's thoughts were moving in a similar vein as she talked to her granddaughter. And Ghanima's like, Stilgar's watching us. And Jessica's like, whatever. This new Arrakis did not fit Stilgar well. Jessica realized no more than the new universe fitted her grandchildren.
Can I? So I didn't think about this until just now. But when Jessica is saying, she's talking to her granddaughter. I mean, in a way, Stilgar is talking to a grandson. Stilgar became
sort of a surrogate,
a father in many ways. Yeah, so it's like it's not like literally the same sort of interaction, but there's a lot of it's very similar interaction.
Yeah,
as far as what they mean to those kids.
Jessica also has a line here: to suspect your own mortality is to know the beginning of terror.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is great. I love this.
To learn irrefutably that you are mortal is to know the end of terror.
Yeah, I loved that. That was just like, again, Jessica coming back. Line. Yeah, Jessica, I was like, I missed you, girl. You're my fave from the first book.
She has some great shit in this.
She's great. Legit. Oh, yeah. Like, why was she just out in the second book? Come on.
She was fucking Gurney, apparently.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
After hearing that line from this book, it really made me I want to see the actress who's in this movie.
Jessica
I really
want
to see her do that. That's the Jessica that I want to see, and I don't know.
Because I know
we'll get to it.
Denny said that he wants to do Dune Messiah.
Mm-hmm. But that means no Rebecca. Sad face. Boo.
I think he would put her in there.
As he wants.
Yeah, I need at least God Emperor of Dune by Denny.
You want to get that far?
Yes, I do.
I would also take Guillermo del Toro doing God Emperor.
Taika Waititi doing God Emperor. Or Heretics. I think he's weird enough to get into Heretics.
Oh, Cytail would be a thing for him, but he'd be oddly funny.
He could play Cytail.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's good casting. Solid,
actually.
Solid. He'd be great.
Or he could do the voice of the navigator.
He could do both.
Would he do it as would he do the same voice he does for Korg?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, hey man, how's it going?
Fuck off, Ghost.
I'm a navigator.
I'm a navigator.
Sit in this tank of dust.
Water traps us, grandmother. We'd be better off living like dust because then the wind would carry us higher than the highest cliffs of the shield wall. Jessica's like, your dad would say that. Like,
that's well. I wonder why. Yeah, that's beautiful too, though. Like there is some like I don't know. I'm not like a good enough sort of literary person to know what to think of Herbert's writing all the time, but he definitely has these highs that are just like really like, ooh, yeah, those are some words.
I feel like the philosophical definites he drops are his high points. Like, honestly, that to suspect your own mortality line.
Yeah.
Is so fucking good. And then the one that haunted me from Dune that I got tattooed on me with my maker, infected with terrible purpose.
Yes. Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's such a haunting line.
Yeah.
And it sets up so much once you keep reading of like Paul just haunted by knowing what's coming.
And purpose is that like inevitability. Like you have one thing to do, right? Yeah, that's Paul.
Let's see.
You were talking, Jessica's talking to Ghanima now.
Yeah. Leto, she's like, Leto said something to disturb you, and Jessica's like, yeah, he did. You don't like the fact that he knows our father and our mother knew him as our mother knew him, and knows our mother as our father knew her. You don't like what he implies, what we may know about you. I'd never really thought about it that way before. Jessica said, finding her voice stiff.
Yeah.
If the knowledge of sensual things, it's the knowledge of sensual things which usually disturbs. Ghanima said, it's your conditioning. You find it extremely difficult to think of us anything but children, but there's nothing our parents did together in public or in private that we don't know.
There it is. That's it. They said the thing.
And for a brief instant, Jessica was like, huh? And but now she focused that reaction upon Ghanima, and then Ghanima's like, he probably spoke of your Duke's rutting sensuality.
Yeah. Oh God, what a weird. Rutting. I don't even really understand.
I didn't bother looking it up, but I was just like, sometimes Leto needs a bridle on his mouth, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds even worse.
That sounds even way. Yeah, like, well, now you're just talking about kinks. Come on.
So she's like, is there nothing these twins cannot profane?
I know.
It's just like,
there is
what
nothing.
Why are we? What? She's basically like having an inner monologue, and I'd love to hear this in the movie of like, these little shits. Oh my God, like.
Yeah, well, and is there some element of like, you have all this knowledge, but you haven't learned like manners or like subtlety. Like they are still children in this.
They can get away with whatever they want to say.
Well, yeah, but I do still feel like that. Like there's something about they're preborn, so they have this. They have the literal thoughts, but they don't have a way of like they haven't learned to sort of filter what they know. You know what I mean? Like.
Which is the part of the preborn that they have all these voices talking constantly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so I mean, maybe it's impossible to like teach somebody manners and decorum when they like are like that. Maybe it's just not going to happen. But I wonder
how dare they speak of her Leto's sensuality.
Yeah, WTF, man.
Of course, a man and a woman who loved each other would share the pleasure of their bodies. It's a private and beautiful thing, not to be paraded in casual conversation between a child and an adult.
Michael Bolton plays in the background.
When a man,
yeah, totally.
Actually, I figured this would be a little bit more. It'd probably be like 9 Inch Nails, "Get Down, Make Love."
Yeah,
or just or closer.
Sure, yeah. The Queen song is good too. I mean, you do think that's solid. Underappreciated Queen song. Most Queen songs are underappreciated, I think. But
and then, like abruptly, Jessica's like, "These two didn't do this casually," and she's like, remains silent. And was like, "We shocked you. I apologize for both of us."
Oh, that's classic, like almost tween behavior too, though, right? Yeah. Like that's just like I said a swear, like they might as well just say fuck.
Samuel Jackson from Pulp Fiction. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Yeah, exactly.
And she was like, knowing Leto, I know he didn't consider apologizing. Sometime when he's following a particular scent, he forgets how different we are. From you, for instance.
Yeah. Just as an example.
Yeah, like, it literally. And then she's like, touches her grandmother's arm. Your son left many things unsaid, which yet must be said, even to you. Forgive us, but he loved you. Don't you know that?
Whoa.
And
how weird would that be?
Oof.
Yeah. That's a weird one there. Just
well, that's weird in a tent. My son blamed me for making him a fucking monster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then she made Alia a monster, and then look at the fucking grandkids.
Yeah, and now
he knows your fears, just as he knew Stilgar's fears. Dear Still, our father was his doctor of beasts, and Still was no more than the green snail hidden in its shell.
Yes.
Whole bunch of snail talk in this. It was kind of weird.
Yeah,
that was weird.
And then it's a song. And then she's like, unfortunately, our father left many snails in our universe.
I thought about introducing myself as the man snail. I was like, hi guys, I'm the man snail.
But I picture her with just this flat tone, like, unfortunately, our father left many snails. Like a very distant kind of flat voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of Jennifer Lawrence in that third X-Men movie where she was mailing it in as Mystique.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, Charles, what have you done?
What have you done?
Oh, Eric,
like,
hi. I saw you in
craft services.
I saw you in that movie where your dong was revealed. George.
Hang your dong.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric Lensher.
Is that your asteroid M?
Yes. So the council chamber is the next chapter, which I'm just gonna call Jessica throwing down her thing.
Oh yeah.
When Jessica got her groove back.
Yeah, it's like it could be like since we're making HBO show analogies, like this is her Veep situation. Maybe she's like coming in like.
Especially since you did say Jessica is Elaine, so.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
There you go.
Perfect.
My girl Irulan with Duncan and Lemon Council. Was it? They make unanimous demand. Faradin is one thing, but this has the stink of other alignments. What does Stilgar think? His signature's on it. But if he, how could he deny the mother of his god?
Whoa. Just if I ever have in life have an opportunity to drop something that big, I'm gonna do it. You know.
Alia basically giving scorn towards Irulan and Idaho, and she's insisting her mother's part of the plot. And then, like, Irulan's, well, the guild can't be trusted. The guild, Alia sneers. We can't rule out the enmity of the guild or the Bene Gesserit, Idaho said. And it just keeps going back and forth where, like, Irulan at one point, it was just like, listen, if the Bene Gesserit if they do, it'll be through a front. Someone or some group they can disavow. The Bene Gesserit haven't existed all these centuries without knowing the value of self-effacement. They prefer being behind the throne, not on it. And then Alia's like, self-effacement, was that Irulan's choice? Like, she's basically like, this dumb bitch who wrote about my brother is using this word?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
your girl really is like stretching out here. She's really like, I'm elbowing in here. I'm like,
there's a part where she
have opinions.
Yells at Alia, and
yeah,
Alia's like, oh, where did this come from? Like, I'm seeing this little turkey neck show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're talking about the speculative stockpiling of spice by certain houses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, like, what would it be for? Swords Masters? Twisted Mentats?
Yeah, Twisted Mentats, right.
Basically, they're afraid of minor houses becoming great houses, basically, in power plays. It's a lot of political... And then Ali's like, it's the Chome.
Yeah.
It's the Lancerad.
The most faceless part of this whole book, I think, so far, really. Like, because the Lancerad is, like, other houses, right? But Chome is just,
the
like...
the entire universe. Like, the whole universe. They really... They're mentioned...
Yeah,
but they're never talked.
Yeah.
I didn't love this chapter, but I did like that Irulan, like, she like finally ran out of stuff to write about Paul and was like actually like getting involved.
I did want to. I don't want to get ahead of you, but I have one thing marked that was significant in this chapter that I don't know if you want to keep. If there's any other points you want to hit
go ahead.
through it. Well, I was going to say so. So they're talking about like the trained animals, right?
Yes,
that might
ferrets.
Yeah, and they go. The house ferrets would take care of them. Like, what the? First of all,
how big are these ferrets? One.
Yeah, are these just ferrets that are trained as security ferrets? And then, like, if so, are you like unaware that something could be bigger than a ferret that could get in, or B, are these ferrets so badass that you're like, bring in like 20 elephants? I don't give a shit. They'll take them out.
And 3, hold up. Point 3 about the ferrets that need to be said. We've got chair dogs. Why not? Hold on. No, why not chair ferrets and call them chariots?
Oh, it writes itself. Yeah, of course.
Ottoman ferrets.
Chariots. Chariots.
Are the dogs that are referred to later precursors to the chair dogs? Because they talk about. There. Yeah, we'll get there. Okay.
So they talk about mutations not being irreversible. I started thinking X-Men. And Irulan goes, they also know that there are 3 people who could perpetuate that mutation, the twins, and she pointed at Alia. And she was like, and I was like, are they insane, this pair? Like, and Alia's like, they will try to assassinate me? She's like, and he was like,
me?
Why me? Yeah. And they started, like, the Mentat computations, he's like, well, no, the twins got to go.
Yeah, obviously.
And she's like, well, they've not tried a hunter seeker in a long while.
Since
wouldn't work in a crowd.
Yeah.
They're basically working at the assassination attempts and giving Alia all these ideas. Let's see. You're not taking Irulan's suggestions seriously. He's like, why take any chances? She's automatically dismissive of Irulan about everything.
Yeah. Just like, no, whatever she says, boo. That's what, like, that's, yeah.
And then she's like, Ali's like, you best hurry back to Siege to Bar. Like, go, little Duncan. How foolish of me to suspect Duncan. He's mine, not Jessica's.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, the Lady Jessica then, yes, let's explore that. He'd explore the possibility, but she too might be far gone and plotting with her sisterhood. Jessica's like, why does Alia want me at this audience?
Like, like, why am I here?
This kid fucking hates me. Like, I don't know why I'm here. Like,
maybe it's because you just abandoned her and like
you just left for a whole book while she was becoming a priestess, warrior, whatever goddess.
There's so many good reasons to abandon or to hate you.
She talks to Javid, and he like shrugs at her, and she's like, she saw the shrug. It's like, this is the age of the shrug. He knows I've heard all the stories about him, and he doesn't care.
Yeah, he does seem really chill about everything.
Our civilization could well die of indifference within it before succumbing to external attack.
That line really hit a little bit. I was like, that's relatable. We're all like, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So Alia flips the fuck out when a Fadakin comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude is kind of badass.
Mm-hmm. Super badass.
They do talk about the preacher for a little bit, and Jessica's like, yeah, like I've heard about him, And she's like, the preacher doesn't disturb you? She's like, I find him a healthy sign. I don't want him bothered. So there is a singer,
yes,
who comes in and he sings a little song, which
he sings a little song about Holly. It's like a kind of a cutting little ditty, little political commentary.
Little what do old people call dancing? Like a carpet cutter or something like that, or rug.
Yeah.
Oh, they're cutting a rug.
Cutting a rug. Yeah.
You say you long for Caledon seas, where once you ruled Atreides, without sureties, but exiles dwell in stranger lands. You say 'twere bitter men so rude to sell your dreams of Shai Halou for tasteless food, and exiles dwell in stranger lands. You make Arrakis grow infirm, since silence the passage of the worm, and end your term as exiles dwell in stranger lands. Alia, they name you Coentine, the spirit who has never seen until.
Yeah. This track actually is what it is.
Yes, and she flips the fuck out, and Jessica's like, "What? Like, I don't know. Like, send him to Faradin. Like,
yeah, kill this guy.
He's got a quick tongue." And she's like, "He didn't call you anything to her." She's like, "He called me the female death spirit." I was like, "Yeah, that's respect." At least in my opinion, I was like,
I know it is kind of weird. It seems like she would embrace that. Like, it seems like that's her whole thing, but she doesn't like somebody calling it out, I guess.
Yeah, she's like, only I can say those things about myself.
It's like if you called Annie Lennox like the weird song lady with the cool voice, and you're like, yeah, that's what she is.
Yeah, she'd be like, you can't say that about me.
There's also like a line here where it's like, if you put away those who report accurately, you'll keep only those who know what you want to hear. I can think of nothing more poisonous than to rot in the stink of your own reflections.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And she's like, your dad would have kept him around.
Oh yeah, for sure. Leto was cool. He's like, yeah, you're funny. You got me.
They have a back and forth, and then we have Gadin Al-Fali.
Yes.
Who wears his Fadikin stuff, and he's like, it's a matter of the desert, and Jessica's like, all right.
Oh, that's a thing. That means something.
Justin, glad to add you to the love of Dune. Go check out his channel. He's got a lot of great stuff on. He's been a great friend to the shows, and also like he puts out great content. And,
amazing.
Him and John do an amazing X-Men show, Omni X-Men, every week.
What's X-Men? Is that a comic book?
Oh God, John's probably like typing in seriously. He hated Dune, the movie, but I still
broke my heart. Broke my heart, John. I thought we were friends.
No one bats 1,000.
Half-hour
it's okay.
prologue.
It's okay.
I get it.
No one bats 1,000. All we can hope for is 350 to get in the Hall of Fame.
Justin, I have an idea for a show soon. Like, it's called Top 10, where we get random people on and do top 10 lists of our favorite things. Jen and I always had great success when we made lists, and I thought it'd be cool to do a once a month list show.
People love lists because they either are like they love it or they're so mad at you, but they can't stop watching because they're so mad at you.
Yeah, like my favorite.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Your favorite?
Oh, like with lists, like people get mad at it because they're like, my favorite better be number one, and if it's not anywhere near number one, this list is completely wrong.
If it's number 5, even you're just a deep shit.
Mad at me. Sid is still mad at me about our image list.
Was it just like Spawn, Youngblood, another Spawn book?
Yes.
No, but there's a lot of image books.
Brigade.
Because Jen and I did a top 10 image books. And think about it. You're talking years and years. You got to kill your darlings.
It's like 30 years of books.
So I didn't have Descender on my top 10. Wow. I love the book, but it just...
I think I had it on mine, though.
Of course you did, because she was mad at me for a year now.
It's no Wet Works. No. Sorry, this is a different.
By the way, my next guest used to work for Extreme Studios on the Ronin show, so
probably
about 20 years. Anyway, like so the Guardian Al-Fali goes in under false pretenses. He kind of paid to get in, and there's a whole shit show starts. And it drives Alia and Jessica into the beginning of a fight where Jessica is almost assassinated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a Mala pistol.
Yes, which the Mala pistol, I'm trying to picture what it's like.
They had it in the movie. They kind of like you kind of cock it. It's kind of like a pellet gun almost, right? Because it shoots a little.
They said it was like a pellet. Yes.
Yeah, it shoots a little pellet, but it's like and you and it pellet flies. So it's not like a gun. It's like a handheld slingshot.
And this old fucking man, who they say is like weathered and thin, crushed this dude's throat with a punch.
Yeah, he just boom. Yeah, he just Bruce Lee'd him to death. Yeah.
And Jessica's like, save that man or I will kill you all.
Yeah, right.
Which is
like, he has information.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
The gun disappears. The body disappears.
Yeah.
And Alpha Lee's like, the tribes are going to hear about this, just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm going to tell my dad.
Yeah.
If you have such desperate need of me, why did you not approach me at the convocation in Siege to Bar? And he's like, Stilgar, you know, he's a naive. I can't step on his toes. Like, you know, respect.
Yeah. This is when they're back to back too. And they're like, which I think is like this cool action pose. Like this is where it kind of like the pedal goes down and it goes into action movie mode, right?
The body disappears and Jessica's like whispering. She's like, mark those 2 courtiers and the woman in the colorful dress. I want them taken. I want them questioned.
Yes.
And he's like, as you say, my lady.
My lady.
I do think it's funny that like Alia like plans this assassination and her like she just sits there while like Jessica goes flying off the throne and Alia's just like
yeah, Alia's
that sucks. Wow, what happened? Oh, they're trying to get me, obviously. Like
Jessica's
so
where's the gun? And she's like, one of my guards has like, and the guard will bring the weapon to me. And she's like, already taken it away. And Jessica's like, how convenient. What are you saying? And she's like, I'm saying that 2 of your people were charged with saving that traitor priest. I warned them that they would die. If he died, they will die.
Yeah,
and she's like, well, I forbid it. She's like, I don't know. You have a brave Fidake in here. This argument can wait.
Yeah.
And then they start speaking Shikopsa.
Mm-hmm.
Her words double barbed to tell Alia that no argument stopped the death command. And Alia's like, we shall see. Basically, the Fidakan starts talking about the desert and how it's shrinking and how basically the ecological change is chasing the worms.
Yeah.
There's less sand trout. And basically what we kind of expected.
Yep.
Alia starts freaking out. An unconscious response starts that identified a deadly enemy of the Atreides.
Yes, when she starts tapping.
Twice.
Yeah.
Index finger 3 times. Ring finger twice. Little finger once. Ring finger twice.
I was trying
some kind of codes.
Yeah. Now I was trying to think in the movie. I need to rewatch it again, but did Skarsgård do something like that?
I feel like it, but now I will watch for it.
Yeah, now I will watch for that because it just seems like something Denis like would want to get in there, like this, like these mannerisms. Like he definitely has like behaviors though. Like that's definitely clear. Like he has ways
also
he does this a lot.
Anybody who collects physical media, the 4K Steelbook is available on Best Buy right now.
Oh, I'm gonna get that for sure.
I just ordered it last night, $34.99.
No, that's not bad. Yeah.
No, it might
for a nice presentation.
Price.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Jessica immediately is like, the old Baron. Shit. So you have your revenge upon us, she whispered. And Alia's like, have you gone mad? And she's like, no.
No.
And
I am mad.
Kind of rushing through this a little bit. The Fidakan takes off with Jessica. There's more Fidakan there than originally she thought, and they escort her out. Things with Alia hit a fever pitch where something was going to happen. Something bad. And as we go on, Leto and Leto and Ghanima escape from Siege to Bar, much to the chagrin of Stilgar, who's like, why? Like, god damn it. Like,
these damn kids.
Like, literally, he starts, he's got to find out, and he's just kind of like, but they do like weird shit. They go and pick fruit.
Yeah, they like sneak it into, like, they pretend to be fruit pickers. And then
I started hearing that presidency, and I
put on the robes.
Into peaches.
Oh yeah, totally. Peaches.
If I were to do like an
peaches 80s come in a can. They were put there by a man.
Man. If I were gonna start like the '90s like soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, I got that. That's cool. We can do a show on that. Like we'll build it out of just Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and Bush tunes, or like no. We'll just make it the worst.
Bush, the soundtrack of Mark Wahlberg's Fear. I recommend everybody watch that movie to see some of the worst, best acting in the world. And
what's going on this carousel?
You know what? I would probably like put him as Faye. Hey, how's your mother?
Sure, yeah. Why not?
We're about to throw down right now. Have you done some push-ups?
I got this Chris knife. I'm gonna fight you, man.
I got the Emperor's knife. It's got the Chris knife. Go.
Yeah. Right. So the twins make a break for it.
Yeah. So they make a break, and they're just.
But they have their robes on as well. They put their robes
like,
on.
It's gonna be a predatory animal. We're wearing this fucking Carino clothing because why not?
Yeah. Fuck it. Let's spring the trap like their granddad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, that echo like keeps coming back.
It's just really like
Jessica now in this next chapter is literally like in this chasm. It's the siege of this other Fadakin who's a Naib.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Leto told me to just let them take me. So Duncan Idaho shows up and he starts going, oh yeah, your daughter is completely possessed. Like, I'm going to take you. And by the way, I'm also going to strap you in, but without the fiber. And then we also find out that he fell in love with Alia because she is basically a Bobo version of
she's
Jessica.
Little Jessica.
Which brings us to his
here we go.
Fuck Jessica, or did he not?
Man. We don't have enough. He definitely thought about it.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, I haven't mad at you since you showed up drunk on spiced beer in the first book.
The thing we didn't get in the movie, but whatever. Maybe there's another cut, but that's fine.
There'll be a flashback in the next movie of like him going, hey.
Yeah, because they got to get Momoa back in there somehow. Right?
I've been out with townies.
They're great. These guys, this is great. These Arrakis people.
Yeah, and he makes a revelation too. He goes, listen, Gurney would have beaten me 6 out of 10 times. I'm not the best swordsman.
I like that. I like that too. It's like, like Duncan Idaho's the shit, but Gurney's just a little bitter.
And I like they put a lot of respect on Gurney here. He deserves it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He's got a fucking giant whip mark that we will never show in any goddamn movie.
Never.
Hey, Sheena. Hello. And Jessica's like, what is Alia doing? He's like, she's trying to start a civil war. And she's like, what?
Like
and
you do.
And your grandchildren are gone, by the way. She's like, Stilgar will find me. He's like, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it's really up to Gurney Halleck then. Trying to look at the rock wall on her left. Like, Stilgar, yeah, really thinks you're fucking him.
Yeah, Stilgar's mostly just holding his head and panicking.
He's basically like, I hate these kids. I hate these kids. I hate these kids. I'm having a heart condition because of these fucking kids.
Yeah, again.
Hey, look at all the beautiful girls and boys this time of season.
Yeah. Let's get off the subject. Look at these hot spring breakers on
Who wants a spice orgy? That'll change the whole mood. And I do like that he's like, well, where are you taking me? He's like, well, like, Solusa Secundus. Like, I'm gonna give you a Faradin, and you're gonna do some stuff.
Yeah, a real chill place, Solusa Secundus.
Yeah. Kind of like Reza.
Notable for being such a hard ass place that you get these badass soldiers out of it. Like, a cool place to go.
It ends with her going, the preacher, is it my son? He goes, I wish I knew.
Do you think they mean old Ben Kenobi? Again, they're doing that all over.
He's doing that crate dragon sound.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know what I
Fan
think.
people tend to travel in.
I don't know what I think Herbert wanted.
To hide their numbers.
Yeah, but I imagine Herbert knew they're gonna immediately figure this out. So let's just not even make it a mystery.
There's gonna be a Star Wars supercut where they're like, you have to walk without rhythm or the sand people will find you.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Wait a minute, where'd you get that?
Is that from old Ben Atreides? I mean,
damn it. Busted.
Wenny is going back and forth with her son and Tayek in this next chapter, where he's just like, "Oh, mother," and he's sassing her to no end. She's
more grown-up sassing.
Wait, why is Tayek taking his side? What?
Maybe I'm terrible. Trying to murder children.
Yeah, and Faradin chews his upper lip, just weird shit.
He just wants to read history.
Yeah, there's a whole I've noticed that Tayek doesn't call you my princess anymore.
Right.
She's like, how observant. That's nice.
She was played by Susan Sarandon in the TV show, right? Yeah. Which sounds like.
And then Alice Krieg played Jessica, the Borg Queen.
Oh yeah, great, love it.
And
those are early crushes for me, for sure.
Always beautiful Irulan.
Yes, you're one of your early crushes. Continue.
Although I'll say the Alia in the Children of Dune series was insanely hot and played crazy well. She hit 11.
Some of her main factors, I think, in the book.
Pretty much.
But Faradin's perhaps I'll become emperor. I don't know.
And this is that moment where he's thinking about that, and is oh man, but then if I have to do that, I can't just have this life of leisure and do all the things that I want to do.
Yeah, you can't just read books and do sword fights sometimes.
He does make the comment. He starts talking about still suits also, and he's like, yeah, well, you got to understand the people if you're gonna try to win them over.
Yeah, I like that thing about still suits or still suit looking clothes becoming
it was the new hot style.
Yeah, I'm like, what is that even you're just wearing I picture a Prada still suit and these people on the catwalk with this full body.
It makes me think of Grimes right now, because since she broke up with Jeff Bezos, you see her wearing a literally $3,000 outfit, casually reading Karl Marx.
Oh sure, yeah.
I saw those pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. I've read Howard Zinn.
Moving on, this goes into Leto and
It's my favorite. This is my favorite chapter so far.
Laser tigers hunting them.
Yeah, action
and
packed.
They have poison tipped Chris knives.
Yeah,
and Ghanima's leg gets fucked up.
Oh yeah, she takes
torn
takes a beating.
Apart.
Yeah,
Sliced.
and her arm.
And her arm, yes, later
and
when she actually gets her her laser tiger, because they both had to get one.
Oh yeah, they each get one for sure.
And basically, it's you're gonna go back to the siege. You're gonna tell them I'm dead. You're going to hypnotize yourself.
Yeah.
To the fact that I'm dead, and you're gonna have revenge.
Yeah.
In your mind, because that's the Fremen way.
Yes.
And I kind of love that she was my Fremen way is I want revenge. I'm gonna have to kill Faradin.
Mm-hmm. Get that motherfucker.
But the description that goes into killing the laser tiger, the first one, where it's just howling in the air.
Oh yeah, that was rough. That's brutal. It's death throes.
Yeah, and then the other one's just kind of quiet, oh, this one's not behaving that way.
Well, it's not what happened.
I'm picturing the controller with this thing on its chest wearing a Devo outfit.
Oh yeah, it's
and it's
we are not
playing
men.
the music from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Dexter.
Mark Mothersbaugh. Yeah.
And he's Leto's give me your knife, and she's no, I have to deal with this. This is mine to deal with. And then her arm just gets fucking mangled for where she turned to stab it.
Mm-hmm.
and she kills it. And then it's just like, well, I'm bandaging from the Frem kit your injuries. You're going to have sand in your wound. And she's like, really? Really?
And she basically notices how sloppy of a job this is done. Like, she's even like, this isn't even sealed like water or moisture tight. Like, this is a really bad job.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I also the forward thinking there too of like, well, I guess maybe we're not there yet, but like they switch Frem kits because she gets bandaged, and so they know that something's missing. Which, like, why would they really think it through, like the plan. Like, they don't want anybody to know.
And his first thing is they may have a traitor among them. Best you slip back alone. Get Hera to hide you.
Mm-hmm.
Hera is ride or die.
Oh, yeah.
She's legit, like, and I know those kids fucking annoy the shit out of her too, because she is Stilgar's wife.
Yeah.
She's Susie Essman in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
And then she's like, oh, choose a good worm, old Fremen term. And she's like, oh, he got one not too big, but I guess big enough. And she hypnotized herself so well that she couldn't see him.
Right. She like thinks that he got eaten by the worm with the tiger, basically.
With the tigers. So there's no evidence at all.
No.
Like they hid the bodies.
Yeah.
And she gets back, and in the secret entrance, she sees a Fremen woman with a math teacher.
Yeah.
Who has like,
and she tough look for math teachers
with the Devo computer on the desk.
Yeah.
Like a guitar.
She's like, I noticed, like, what is that he's operating? Oh, that must have been the person who was operating the tigers.
Yeah.
And
1 and 1 equals 2.
Oh, what was it?
Math.
She fell back into a memory of an Assyrian. She fell back into the memories of an Assyrian.
Yes.
Who did the poison dart.
I was gonna like look this up to get a little more, but yeah, that's what she.
And then she snuck up behind her. She's like, "Just let the body fall. He's dead."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that she blow darts this guy, and then and then gets up behind the other lady.
Holds the knife to her and is basically like, "Don't move.
Yeah.
I killed him, and I'll kill you too, bitch."
Yeah.
Yes.
That whole, and I think this also again echoes, Jessica and Paul in the desert. They're like having to get around like man versus nature. Of course, these Laza tigers are not nature; they're controlled. But that kind of like desert adventure piece of it that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. The next chapter is basically Carino Castle, and they're like, Duncan Idaho is heading here with Jessica, and they're like, wait, what? Wait, Duncan, Idaho? And he's like, well, Ferrison's like, I kind of want to see what a Gola is. I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's trying to, like, hide from his mom something. What was it? There was something.
Kind of hot because he's like, I think she's going to try and seduce me.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, that's one of the things that they do, right? And he's like,
hot moms in your area.
I've seen the diss trans, the milk diss trans. I do like it. It pains me a little bit that that's like Jessica's like reputation right there. Because I'm like, no, she's so cool. She's not just a hot mom.
And
it's a Bene Gesserit thing. They did it to themselves.
So close
really.
To honored matras. Like the honored matras, the sex nuns.
I can't wait to get to this part.
To be honest, Sid like gets so mad at me every time I bring up the sex nuns. He's like, of course you fucking like them.
Yeah, it's not. It's that they're fascinating, like,
or the fact that like it's like a hard day's night and they chase around Miles Tegg like crazy, which we'll get to Miles Tegg, who's another one of Sid's favorites.
He's Ringo.
No, he's not Ringo. I'd say he's probably more like George.
Oh, okay.
He's the quiet, reserved one that everybody loves who gets into some religion.
Ah, okay.
He's going to write All Things Must Pass and I Me Mine. And,
yeah, right.
Ringo only had Yellow Submarine. No one respected that.
Yeah, and do a sick version of Got My Mind Set on You. Just a banger. With the owl in the video. It's awesome.
I mean, he's no ABBA.
Guys, I'm almost 40. Did you know that? Could you tell?
I'm past that.
Oh. I'm sorry.
5 years past that.
Okay. It'll be okay.
You're like, I'm sorry.
I'll get there.
If you're lucky.
If it became known that we hold her, yes, that would be a two-edged sword, Tayek said.
That would be.
But it need not be known until she starts fucking you and then taking you the weirding ways.
Then you'll know that she's. Yeah.
But to quote Stu from Scream, but wait, there's more. So it is hitting my quitting time.
We tightened this one up. Good job, guys. Good job.
Kind of like we still missed a little bit, but the last chapter is basically like
I think I skipped ahead a little bit. The last chapter is where the lady gets killed with the
I kind of bounced around, but
they break up those pieces.
Like, there's a body and there's gonna be another body if you don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So that would put me at 234 on mine.
201 on us.
201. So
I jumped ahead and tried to figure out this part. I was thinking on our copy stopping at 290, or 289. 289,
which would be the chapter it starts with.
So the next chapter is Lament for Leto II.
Yes.
Sorry, maybe that was a.
One small bird.
I mean, or we could just finish it, but that might be a lot.
Yeah, it may be a little bit for the next one. So
yeah.
So I was thinking not coming back till January, so that way the holidays were not stressed.
Sure.
I am trying to find where the fuck this page is. Oh, okay, I found it. Wow, it's way 339 in mine.
Wow.
But yeah, I was thinking
that big type.
Yeah, I was thinking January we start back up. That way the holidays we're not trying to rush around because we have book club January 1st, which we had to push because everybody's schedules kind of suck.
You're all gonna be hungover.
Christmas Day, I am doing Die Hard with Carlito and other Christmas stories, and at some point, Gambit and I are going to do a tribute to George Perez.
Oh yeah,
Gambit's lucky enough to have dinner with next week.
Was him? Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It was actually he walked Gambit's wife down the aisle for their wedding.
Oh my God! Wow,
so
that's amazing.
George Perez means a lot to him, and his heart is breaking after the news. And
he was a
George Perez. We love you.
We do love you.
You're one of the nicest people I've met on the convention circuit, and always took the time. And I can't say enough. And also, everybody who wants the physical copy of Dune by Denis Villeneuve. Best Buy has the 4K Steelbook for $34.99, or the digital comes out a couple of weeks beforehand.
I thought you were talking about the book, and I'm like, the physical copy of Dune.
Well, the Blu-ray 4K that comes
with
out.
The box of pain.
January 11th. Oh, I would love a Tom Jabbar box.
Is that the box one, or is that a different one, or is that fake? The thing I saw where it like comes in a box, a pain box.
I wish it did.
No,
I haven't seen that, but if it exists,
yeah,
I will find it.
It might have been. It was on the internet.
So Man of Steel. I will find him. So thank you, everybody. I have to go jump onto my Ronin live stream, which now I'm late to.
It's a weird looking horse in that book.
Yes,
it's a weird looking horse.
And I got to talk about Frank's little bit of racism in here because
a little bit.
He's got problems.
There's a lot of racial slurs in here, and
as I said, he's my J.K. Rowling.
So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you after the holidays in January. And go read some books.
Yeah, read some books.